Hey. You. Hey, you. Welcome to the Vergecast.
No, I was gonna.
What?
Out there in the.
Hey. And welcome to the Vergecast.
Can you hear me?
Hey,
I wish I knew how it actually goes.
Hey.
Really stumbling out of the gates here.
Please stop talking. Hey, and welcome to the Vergecast for the week of August 6th, 2012. I am Joshua Topolsky.
I'm Paul Miller.
I'm Nilay Patel.
And collectively, we make up the Vergers, a new gang that's hitting the streets. It's going to take you out if you try anything funny. And by anything funny, I mean improv comedy.
Fall 2012.
Yeah. Worst movie trailer ever.
The Vergers. 3 men.
Look, you're back.
I am back. They found me. I was at a marathon rewatching of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Where I was trying to figure out how such a bad movie got made.
Just so the audience knows.
We spent the last half an hour picking apart the plot of The Dark Knight Rises and talking about how it could have been better.
Yeah.
So many spoilers. I mean, we're not going to do this now because we don't want to spoil it for the one person.
Yeah.
One person who both listens to or watches the Vergecast and is into Batman, who has not seen the movie.
Right.
But maybe when the time is right, I actually have a forum post that I might do about the Dark Knight Rises that I want to. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I think you raised some good points, Josh.
I raised some sick points, and you guys missed it.
Like point number 1, agree. I agree with that.
You agree? You do agree.
2, not so strong. But
I
number
think
1
you're
and
wrong.
number 3, very strong.
3 is you can't mess with that. Anyhow, we're back on the Vergecast where we discuss the week in technology, culture, and regular culture.
Yeah.
You know, I like to think that we discuss a cross-section of technology, art, science, and culture.
Yeah. In a grid.
In a grid, in a 4-up grid.
we're in
And we're like in the middle of that grid. Where it's like that one, where's that place where you can stand in 4 states at once?
Oh, yeah.
That's the 4 corners. That's what this is. The 4 corners of technology, culture, art, and science.
Which one is New Mexico?
Science.
That's actually pretty accurate.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
that
where
makes
that's
sense.
where the meth is made.
Yeah.
And art.
That's where the meth gets made.
Yeah.
Art
would be,
is what are the other?
Arizona.
No, there's a lot of science that happens
Is
in
Idaho one of those?
real
No,
science.
Iowa, Colorado, Nevada. Nevada would be
Oh, my God. Utah?
art for sure.
All right. Colorado.
Yeah.
Arizona.
We're smart.
the culture?
Arizona.
I said Arizona.
Where's the culture?
What are the choices?
New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Colorado.
Utah.
I was just in Utah.
Culture.
Yeah.
Culture.
Mormon culture. And
I
then
actually saw The Dark Knight Rises in a
Mormon theater. Edited for Mormon values.
No, it was
2 minutes long.
It was definitely like it was a podunk theater. I spent
That's rude to say. I actually think that's racist.
$7 for my movie ticket.
Oh, yeah.
There's a $5 matinee, but I spent $7.
Look at you, big
And
spender.
it was the first movie theater I've ever been in my life that wasn't like Dolby.
Oh,
It was
really?
not a
It was like
certified.
stereo.
They had like stereo.
Yeah,
like
there
little
was
Logitech
stereo speakers.
Like
Like
we just
even-
upgraded to the Z1000.
Well, I was surprised to discover upon my viewing of The Dark Knight Rises that I thought that this was just my bad setup at home, that everybody's speaking voice was extremely quiet and everything else was super loud. But it turns out that's just how movies are mixed now. It's just like people are like, during loud explosions, they don't try to make their voices louder so you can hear them speaking.
Yeah.
Also, Bane was hard to understand. What is the deal with that?
Let's move on.
Okay, so we've got topics. What do we have?
There's a lot of news this week. I think the biggest piece of news.
Let's touch on the stuff that's really going to be vital and important for us.
Skim the
Skim the crap.
no,
we'll do that.
skim the cream off the top.
Oh, skim the cream.
Yeah, not the
Skim the
Leave the
crap.
crap.
Skim the leave the crap.
Literally worst. Like,
Skimthecrap.com. A new website I've started up.
let's talk about the Mars stuff because I think that's the most exciting news of the week. We put a car on Mars.
I'm curious to know your thoughts.
Oh, God.
Yes, it's happened.
Why? Why the big voice? He just slid into it.
Yes. Go on.
We put a car on Mars.
It's more than a car. It's towing some sick stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's
It's also got like some kind
actually
of. It's got ant legs.
I saw the headlines. I saw the cover story on the Wall Street Journal. I did not read it.
That's great.
Okay.
I have been very busy this week.
So
and
do you know
would really like
anything
to
about
know,
Curiosity? So here's the rundown.
I
Here we
feel
go.
like I'm sure I read a bunch
Let
about
Nilay-
it a while ago, but they all bleed together.
Let Nilay inform me.
So we after 8 months and millions of miles to travel, Curiosity, which is a giant rover,
Was
literally
it
about the
8
size of a
months?
car.
Is that right?
Something like that.
We got a lot faster at saying things.
Is this
than
the
ours.
one with the bouncy landing?
No. That was...
I'm really looking
no,
forward
last
Look,
to
time.
that.
until you
This
heard-
one... No, so the landing of this one was nuts. Took... NASA was calling it 7 minutes of terror, which is
Okay.
By the way, I
well
think-
branded. Do you see the video? The video is great.
but I think for NASA, like using the word terror
Yeah.
in any of their, I know you
well,
want
it's
to
a
get.
robot. I think that you can get away with it.
I know
when
you
it's
want
a
to get people
robot.
excited, but I think 7 minutes when NASA's like, we have 7 minutes
Well, the
of terror,
video
you're
is-
like, that doesn't sound good.
The video is super
So how does it
dramatic.
land?
Anyway, so it breaks apart from its heat shield, and then as it gets closer to the ground, it deploys a parachute, and then literally it's called the sky crane. The rocket stage like hovers in the air, and they lower
Oh,
the car
yeah,
to the ground.
yeah.
Which was nuts, and it worked. Like it all worked.
I got to get a sky
Um,
crane.
and there was-
very
Outside
long
my house.
off.
And so they were broadcasting live on
Is that
Ustream.
because it's such a heavy payload?
No, they didn't want to get the rockets close to the ground and kick up a lot of dust. That was their whole. So it was,
Is it because like shrapnel?
yeah, and they didn't want to like cover the. They didn't want to like move things around on the ground and cover the cameras with dust.
Interesting.
Anyway, so literally they streamed it live on Ustream, a room at JPL, a lot of people in blue shirts and nerdily looking at screens.
Yeah.
More
At
viewers.
least one with a mohawk.
Yeah, more viewers on this live stream than primetime CNN.
Yeah.
And literally the moment of triumph was when somebody yelled, "We got thumbnails!" And like a 64 by 64 pixel thumbnail
way.
of like the wheel showed up. And someone was like, it's the wheel! And
just
like
wanna-
everyone went nuts.
I just want to say,
Because it worked. Like it's
is great.
it was nuts. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sorry, I'm just want to tweet to everybody that we're on the air right
Excuse
now.
me.
I forgot to do that.
So now they're going to spend like a month calibrating.
But I don't know if
No, they're already doing-
I don't know if this
some
means,
pictures are coming back
I don't
already.
know if this means that suddenly America is excited about science again. But I feel like it seems like we could be entering a new era of interest in
because of the Ustream viewer
no,
numbers, or what
not
are you
the, well, the
talking about?
Ustream numbers, and also like I just feel like
We sent Dante to Times
I
Square.
feel like a
as
hypocrite.
technology, here's a look at this is not real. This
Yeah.
is
Oh, the
animated.
simulated.
This is what it would have looked like had we had absolutely awesome optics following the
Right.
thing.
Yeah, no, that's next time
Look
we
at
need
this.
to
Look at this. Hold on now. Let's watch this.
send a chase vehicle.
7
Although
minutes of terror.
I will say this. I mean, this definitely looks computer generated. You think
Right.
at this point NASA could get whoever's
They
doing
spent all the money building the sky car.
whoever's doing Lucasfilm stuff to like make it really, really photorealistic. They got
Yeah.
the shots. And
They
everything.
got some.
No,
depth
they got
of
the
field.
shaky cam.
Shaky cam.
They do have that.
Well, no, we said, and Dante went to Times Square where they're broadcasting this live.
Yeah, we actually
at
got
2
some.
a.m.
Dante got some awesome pictures of people just standing there staring in
That's
Times
awesome.
Square. Look at this.
And this, yeah, I mean, it's
This is on Mars, man.
It's great.
sky crane.
On Mars.
I mean, like,
Think
just
about
the
it.
idea that they were like, we should build a
Look at
sky
this.
crane.
Look how, this is so. This is not even real. I mean, I know this is not real.
Yeah.
But this is just so.
No, this happened on Mars.
This
really
happened.
happened
This
somewhere.
actually happened.
Well,
There was a guy
that's
standing
what
there.
NASA
There was a guy.
tells us.
There was a guy with a parachute and his camera next
Yeah.
to this. There were
Well, no,
like
I mean,
base jumpers.
I
above
just can't
this.
imagine the feeling of like you're at JPL and you're like, we came up with the sky crane, we sent it to Mars,
Right.
And it worked, and this is all automated. That like they weren't doing it. Like,
well, of course, there's a large lag. I just feel like a total hypocrite for not having read more about this
mean,
because
you're-
I this is very exciting to me.
Of all of our guys.
sky crane.
I mean, what's funny about this
Although
is
I wish I was
of all of our
on board.
of all of our
Yeah.
team members, so do I. Of all of our team members, I mean, I wish that you were on board.
Right.
Of all of our team
I
members,
got it.
By the way, I think it's interesting.
Look at this.
I will
This
say
is
this.
crazy.
The sky crane definitely looks like the bat from The Dark Knight Rises.
Let's
Like,
not
at
get
the-
back into that.
I'm
but-
just gonna say,
You know
it
who'd like to
kind of
get,
does
you know
look
who
like
would like to get
Batman's
control
plane.
of the sky crane?
Like,
See you later.
Sky crane goes away to die.
Where does it go to?
It doesn't.
Where is
It
this-
just goes. It crashed.
No.
They just wanted to crash
It's
it
gotta
somewhere
have like
else.
a camera.
That poor
takes
sky.
No,
cool
they
pictures.
literally there's pictures of where the debris landed.
Don't cry for the sky crane.
It's all over, man.
The sky crane
It went,
right now.
it went to go find Spirit and Opportunity.
I want you to know
Like,
what's happening.
up, guys?
The sky crane.
Sky crane checking in.
Here's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
The sky crane is lying on the surface of Mars, staring up at the sky, watching the horizon darken as it takes its final breath, thinking, satisfied,
yeah.
I did it.
I am the sky crane.
I'm the sky crane. As it closes its mechanical
Yeah.
eyes for the last time,
I think, therefore, I am a sky crane.
darkness descends upon Mars.
No, I think you're right. I mean, there's this vast amount of interest in. I mean, the fact that the numbers beat CNN Primes and having
CNN's not that.
I mean, it's kind of man. I mean, it's like it didn't beat the Super Bowl, did it?
No,
but when it beats the Super Bowl, then we'll know.
But
we
there
got
was
something.
but what's funny is that it wasn't being streamed live on CNN. It wasn't being streamed live on the major news networks.
Because CNN, we know, is an agenda against science, anti-science agenda.
Well, it's funny. It's like we run.
They don't, but
they kind of do. I mean, we run a site geared towards smart people who are interested in like technological advancement.
Yeah.
And there's a huge audience.
I'll say one thing.
Networks did live stream Balloon Boy for however many hours that lasted. Like,
that's not really the same. Not really the same thing.
No, that was a boy who was not in a balloon.
God, remember that? Remember Balloon Boy?
Yeah.
That was insane. What's wrong with us? That was crazy.
I definitely took 6 hours of my day at work and watched that.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing.
Remember, Giz had like live updated coverage of Balloon Boy. That was smart.
Well, as a boy,
why don't we do more Balloon Boy coverage? Anyhow, but I do think there's like a kind of a new. I think it's part of the mentality of. I think it's all connected to consumer technology. I do feel like people are now like starting to think, as you hear world leaders and business people talk about how the future is like in startups and in web and gadgets or whatever. I feel like that's starting to bleed. Like you start to go like, oh, I get it. Like coming up with new ideas and technology and coming up with new ideas in science. Like those are important.
Well,
like those are valuable, and we should be thinking about.
And a lot of those like I think had I been born in a different time, I might have spent my free time in like middle school instead of making like stop motion animations. Maybe programming apps,
dreaming of the sky crane,
making apps,
programming apps.
And if you learn how to program, I was talking to a lot of roboticists. Like, there's no special skill to being a roboticist. It's either knowing how to program or knowing mechanical engineering. Like they're very generic skills, and you get to decide how to apply them.
Right.
So if you're learning how to program, you could be involved with something in that, and I think there's something to that. Just the fact that you might have a wider base of people that see it's super valuable to know how to build an app. You've got a ton of people that are now capable of doing a lot of other cool things as soon as the Android bubble bursts.
And they're like, sure, let's go to Mars.
And Apple locks down the App Store entirely and only sells its own apps.
If only the new Total Recall.
Everybody else is just making
also set on Mars.
Did you see Total Recall?
No,
they don't go to Mars.
They don't go to Mars.
Are you joking?
What?
I'm not joking.
What? That's the entire.
It's not. It's out. Everybody knows. They
That's
don't go
the
to Mars.
entire
I
point.
didn't know. So you
Total
spoiled that for
Recall.
me. Yeah,
I didn't spoil
Well, no,
that for
I
you.
actually. I'm
It's
glad
like
he saved me from wasting money on it.
They've been saying it over and over and over again. We're not going to Mars.
Who's saying?
The filmmakers.
I think
They never called me.
It's it's not a spoiler because they've been publicly saying it over and over again.
Who here has seen Total Recall?
I don't
Look,
It came out
here's
last
the thing.
night.
Here's the thing.
Cray, Sean, can we get a shot of Cray?
Sometimes there's
Double Cray.
Can
How
we
was
switch
it?
that? We got
Not
to.
the new one. I haven't seen the new one.
Where's the?
That doesn't count.
no,
You can't take who's seen Total
there he
Recall.
is.
original.
Hey, by the way, I want to point out Creighton today wearing his U.S. soccer jersey.
Yeah.
How are they doing, by the way?
Very sporting of you.
1-0 at the half.
Yeah.
I'm 1-0.
Look how uncomfortable he is on camera. This is terrible for you. Guys, I want to say, though, I'm a little disappointed. You seem to have focused solely on Creighton there, and I feel like you don't want the camera on you. So, Brendan, maybe...
Where is the camera?
Oh, really?
There's the camera
He'll
right there.
figure it out. Anyhow, but so, yeah, science. I mean, I think...
Science.
So, yeah, science.
Science.
It's hot. It's what everybody was talking about.
Total Recall science.
Well, Total Recall is, of course,
No, I'm just saying if they gone
based
to
purely in scientific.
they could have
theory.
sparked off a whole generation of interest in Mars.
You think so?
I blame Colin Farrell personally.
I would watch...
Oh, you think Total Recall could have?
Oh, yeah, would've
Combined
been-
with the rover.
How many people
I'll say
would
this,
have
it would've
watched
been good
Total
timing.
Recall on
Yeah.
Ustream?
If they
Right? We should stream
Had
the
they gone to
original
Mars.
Total.
if they had been smart,
Yeah.
they would have put Mars in there.
Yeah, and then they would have coincided.
Timed it with, I mean, it's basically timed with Curiosity.
Yeah.
And then been like, you want to really go
That's
to
what the
Mars?
Sky Crane could
You want to
do.
see what Mars
Yeah.
is really like?
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
out the new Total Recall starring Colin Farrell.
Stay in
Yeah.
school.
And,
Yeah,
and
no,
check out the
when
new Total
when
Recall
the Sky
starring...
Crane flew away,
Check out science.
it could have like smoke written Total Recall in the Martian sky.
I don't think
Flown
you
away.
understand.
No, I don't think
Let's,
you.
okay.
All right,
Look,
next
there's a
topic.
car on Mars.
What do we got? It's not a car.
It's a car.
It has
It is the coolest remote-controlled car ever built.
It's a type of vehicle.
When
but
I
that
was
doesn't mean
8,
it's a
I
car.
built an RC10. I jumped it off a curb.
Are we
going
gonna
to
have a human on Mars within 10 years?
I don't think no.
How long?
years?
How long does it take for the human to get there?
8 months.
I don't think anybody wants to spend the money.
I want to spend
I think they're
money.
happy putting robots.
I don't
in
have the money, but I would love to spend it.
All right, there's actually big news that happened today.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
breaking news this morning: Google was fined $22.5 million from the Federal Trade Commission for violating people's privacy.
That is no money.
It's zero money. However,
hey,
the
it's-
biggest settlement ever recorded by the FTC.
Which just shows how ineffective the FTC is.
Yeah. Google also got to admit no fault. So here's what happened.
It was an accident, human error,
That's
right?
so they enabled cookies on Safari, and they told people that Safari couldn't track them when you turned off the cookie blocker. But then they worked around it so they could place ads.
Accidentally.
They pretty much on purpose.
But they got to say no fault because
they negotiated a settlement with the FTC. So
Nice.
the FTC voted 4-1, and the one dissenting commissioner was very, very unhappy
Kids.
that the FTC, that Google got to admit no fault.
Kids,
so
let this be a lesson to you. If you do something illegal, if you have enough money, you will not be punished.
yeah, pretty much.
Just something to know. And you know what can help you with
stay
that
in
is
school.
stay in school and learn
there's that.
about
So that's our immediate
coding.
reaction, and then the FTC. This record-setting penalty in this matter sends a clear message to all companies under the FTC privacy order. No matter how big or small, all companies must abide by FTC orders against them, or they will end up paying many times what it would have cost to comply in the first place.
Let's put it this way.
Which is like Google's like, here
Let this
we
be a
found
lesson.
this.
Let this be a lesson.
You know, we didn't do today. We didn't buy everyone a card.
Have
today.
at least $20 million on hand if you're thinking about violating the FTC's wishes.
Yeah.
Because we are going to take at least 20.
The Wall Street
maybe
Journal.
more.
The Wall Street Journal calculated that Google makes $22.5 million in revenue every 5 hours. Literally like half a day's work for Google.
Oops.
Yeah.
Said the FTC.
Yeah.
Whoops.
But so I will say it is. We do talk a lot about the ineffectiveness of various government agencies on the show. But the FTC is the most active in trying to enforce privacy.
Well, if not them, who's going to enforce anything?
Well, I mean, it's compared to the FCC, right, which doesn't do a good job regulating
What?
wireless
I
spectrum.
disagree. By the way, I'm a Time Warner customer again.
I mean,
Again.
but all
Again.
of the like
I went back.
various like
That's so.
I went back
that's
from
so rough.
my other choice to the other choice, the other monopoly.
like if like a broadcast network, you know, lets like the F word slip through or a nipple, you know, there's always like a slap on the wrist.
both
It's
destructive to the fabric of America.
true.
If one child hears the F word or sees a nipple, besides breastfeeding on it,
Wow, got super weird.
that
Took a big left turn there.
Then we're in big trouble. Well, who are we protecting with the nipple slip clause? Not adults, children.
Yeah,
Because if they see a nipple,
it's over.
they become rapists immediately. It's a known fact.
Yeah.
It's a well-established fact. I'm just quoting medical
I'm
journals.
just saying it's, the wrist slap is pretty
No,
typical for this sort of
It's just like
sort of thing.
It's just like getting a parking ticket.
right.
Parking there is not really a crime.
Right.
They just decided that they would
Right.
find a way
It's
to make
not in
money
the
off of you.
Constitution.
That's right.
Well-
it's under the Constitution. I can park wherever I want according to the Constitution.
So let me ask you this, and I think so. The money there's. I don't know
Gotta
that there's
follow the money.
a large enough sum of money that you could find Google where it would.
Right. You
they
have
would
to have an
back off.
actual like clear rule.
I
No,
think-
no.
I think-
It
well, no,
wouldn't
I
be-
think you need-
finding them is BS.
I think that I mean the one commissioner who disagreed. I think his point is valid. It's you have to get Google to say we screwed with people's
Yes.
privacy.
No,
We're very sorry about it.
What is really going to be effective in dealing with stuff like this is that you make the consumer aware of and angry about
Yeah.
the stuff that they do, because that has a real material effect on Google. Because if the consumer knows Google not only got fined but also had to say we betrayed your trust and stole information from you basically to sell you something, some people are gonna go, I'm not gonna use your products anymore. And that has a material effect on Google, and it has echo effects on the company. And if they know that the possibility is they're going to be like publicly shamed and forced to.
But why aren't they?
forced to-
Why aren't
forced
they
to admit
publicly
that-
shamed? I mean, it doesn't take the government to publicly shame somebody. I'm not saying the government
No,
shouldn't.
but saying no fault,
like,
the no fault.
yeah, but ultimately, like, they're also tried in the court.
But are they-
Public,
so let
court
me-
of public opinion.
Yeah,
No,
like, really don't have
they can
anything
still
interesting
say,
to say
but they
today.
can still say it was a no. But they can still say it was a no fault ruling, which to a lot of people be like, oh well, I guess like they
right.
found
Sure,
it wasn't that
And,
big of a deal.
You know, the court of public opinion only works when there's like a market alternative, right? So if Google, we all yell at Google for screwing with privacy, and everybody goes start to use Bing.
Bing.
Yeah, that's effective, but that's not happening here.
If you
know,
why
like,
doesn't
use the second
Microsoft,
order.
why
if you were
doesn't
gonna-
Microsoft advertise?
They did. They advertise like crazy
Are you kidding?
about this
Bing?
stuff.
No. I mean, advertise.
No,
by,
they do
like,
directly. So
about this
Microsoft's
privacy stuff.
Are they do?
the Office stuff, all their Office advertising that's
Oh, yeah, you're
geared
right,
towards
the
Google
Office stuff
Yeah.
is all about privacy. It's
Does the
all
Bing
about Google
stuff?
has control.
The Bing stuff is not.
I want to
but-
see.
but-
I want to see search engine ads that are like political ads. It's like black and white, like Ken Burns effects of like
And then-
Google screenshots.
And it's like a close up of Eric Schmidt's face on like
Yeah.
the digital zoom.
Yeah.
Eric Schmidt
And then
wants to know where
and then
you
the
go
end-
on the internet.
At the end, Ballmer is like, "I'm Steve Ballmer, and I approve this message." No, but that is a good idea. I would like to see like political style ads for companies. We should, Creighton, can we cook up some fake political style ads for companies?
Right now?
Yeah, right now. Oh, you're on camera. Hey, you're on camera. Yeah, just get that out. Just
iMovie?
let us know when you've got something.
No, I bet iMovie has a preset
It
that's
probably
like
does a
anti-Google.
political ad.
the political ad.
Yeah.
Political ad preset. It just zooms in on. It's like just load up a bunch of low resolution pictures and slowly
Yeah.
zoom in on them.
Make
Yeah.
them all black and white, but have like occasional like red text.
Yeah, and then sometimes some things will get slammed over them.
Yeah, slam.
Like and like little cutouts of newspaper.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
get slammed over things. And then there's also like words like lying that kind of zoom in and pivot a little bit.
And then an acoustic guitar starts playing, and a color image of
The candidate,
Steve Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer, softly fades in.
Yeah, it's like, man, I was so tense just a second ago thinking
Yeah.
about that other product.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now Ballmer's here.
the
Ballmer
calming-
is here.
The calming presence of Steve
In
Ballmer.
full color.
Yeah. But he's like
I feel so calm because that's how you feel. Anyhow, but I do think, I mean, it is a slap on the wrist if that. It's not. I mean,
Well-
Google probably won't do this again.
Yeah, but that's
But like,
not the
not
problem.
They won't do this version.
The problem is not it's
You know,
you've
we
accomplished the goal of making Google not lie to Safari users about what cookies it's placing on their computer. You have not accomplished the goal of making Google really take privacy seriously. And Google will tell you up and down that they do.
I think they take
But
privacy.
this is their
I think they
second.
predominantly take privacy seriously. I think there are a couple places where they feel like it's a low level it's low enough, and I think all companies do this, that they go like, well, there's privacy
Get
and
away
then there's
with this.
privacy. This
Yeah.
is a low enough like invasion of the privacy that we're not going to, that we don't really think like what are they actually collecting? Your browsing data. Anonymous, I would imagine.
But so they got in trouble because they were lying to you about whether or not
I
they
know,
were
but
collecting.
they were collecting,
Which is
but they were collecting,
problem.
but they were collecting anonymous browsing data, right?
No, they're tracking you to serve targeted ads.
No, but you is just like a
Like
node
they don't
somewhere.
have a Joshua Topolsky.
It's not Josh Topolsky's.
personalized
I mean,
ad.
if you went through all the trouble of finding my IP and all that stuff, but like they're not doing that.
They're
not emailing me
You are
an ad.
drawing the
They've
finest.
just
No,
of
but
Really
distinctions.
discreet.
I'm not defending them. I'm saying this is how they think about it.
Right.
They're like, it's low level enough that like it's not really like I'm not selling Nilay Patel's personal information to somebody. I'm just
Like,
giving this node some information.
They're
and one
weighing
node
the
gets us a-
cost. They're weighing the cost of if the market, if everybody heard about this and started talking about this, would this hurt us? And they
Right.
weighed this.
Well,
one.
why do they? But why do they?
Well, so let me just point
Well, how
out that
did
this
they
is
arrive-
the second time Google has gotten dinged by the FTC. The first time was Buzz, right? Where they
How do they?
Right.
Well, but that was just them being stupid.
Right.
Google. That literally was them being like Google
They messed
business model in beta. Like, yeah, we'll just turn it on for everybody. That makes sense. And then like people are like, what's going on? this is terrible, and it's obviously terrible, and they just didn't. It's clear they didn't think about what it would be like.
Right.
But that is
But this
that
is
is the
different.
failing.
But this is different.
So
they
but
thought
so,
about
look,
what this would be like.
So
and they're
let
like,
me
let's
ask
do it
you,
anyway.
which one's worse,
I
right?
think this one's
the
worse.
The callous.
The one where they decide to do it is worse.
We're ignoring the privacy implications of what we're doing, which is buzz. We're just going to turn it on. We didn't think this through.
Yes.
We have
I mean,
this much power. We didn't think
like
it through.
worse.
that's like a car safety recall. Like, shoot, we screwed up. The pedal gets stuck to the floor, and we're gonna fix it.
Or it's
And
more
we're
like,
sorry. We'll make
no,
amends.
it's
Yeah.
only that way.
Possible.
But so buzz was. It's that way if like Ford can go and like turn the switch on every Explorer in the country, right? I mean,
Well, and I mean, you
that's
don't
like
have
a
to
little
draw,
bit different.
No,
I
but
mean,
you don't have to draw such a direct parallel. Let's say this. Maybe a better parallel would be something like Ford uses.
I love it when we argue about
I mean, this
metaphors.
is tough.
It's my favorite.
You know, it could be anybody. It could be Chrysler. It could be Honda.
What about Toyota?
No way. I don't know. Like they use some cheap material to make their floor mats.
Right.
And it turns out that like the floor mats are really slippery and dangerous when you
Right.
drive on them and when your floor mats get wet, and they have to recall the floor mats.
Right.
They did it because like they want to save some money on the floor mats. They probably you know
Yeah.
they might not have looked at all the safety issues there. I feel like Buzz is kind of like that, where they're like, we want everybody to have Buzz, and we think it'll be cool, and you'll love it, and let's just turn it on. And they weren't like, well, what'll it do for the there'll be some privacy implications here.
Right.
I don't think they wanted people's privacy to be invaded. I think they wanted
But
people
that's what
to
I'm
use
saying.
their
And then
service.
this one is literally they lied.
This
to
one's
people.
way worse. I'm saying that I think it's
So-
worse when you are methodical and like, I want to do this and I know it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
It's like, what's worse? If you shoot somebody because you want to kill them, or you're cleaning your gun and it goes off and you shoot someone.
Right.
Well, you tell me, which one is worse?
Well, for me, it's
You don't know.
they're
they're
really
the same.
bad. They're both really
They're
bad.
both horrible. But
I mean,
I'm saying-
one is like I'm trusting this
calculated
company.
murder is worse than accidental murder, I think.
Sure.
I mean,
Yes,
somebody's
that is true.
Somebody's dead either way.
Yeah.
But
I think one is definitely more evil.
I think Josh is right though. It's a calculated thing. They calculate it and they're like, you know what? This isn't bad enough to get us in serious trouble with
Right.
our users,
and that's nasty.
and so we're gonna do it.
That's a BS move. We have other topics. Do you want?
Well, so actually, this
Oh, you
goes
want- you-
this
so
goes
you gotta-
right
you gotta-
into the next thing.
Segue.
Yeah, which is Mat Honan, who used to
Oh
be
my
at
God.
Gizmodo and is
Yeah.
now Wired and
Oh, I heard
is
about
a Twitter buddy of all of us.
Hometown.
And now is no longer a Twitter buddy of Josh Topolsky.
just
So he had
unfriended.
this happened over the weekend.
This
He had
story
a
is
terrible story.
Painful.
So he was playing with his daughter, and he noticed his phone reset. And then when it turned back on, he had to type in a PIN number, and he didn't have a PIN number. And the house of cards continued to fall until his MacBook had been reset, his iPad had been reset. He couldn't get into his iCloud account. He couldn't get into his Gmail. His Twitter was reset. His Twitter was linked to Gizmodo's Twitter from when he'd been working there, and that started posting terrible racist messages.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Both accounts.
And everything spiraled out of control.
That's Mat Honan right
That's
there.
Matt.
And by the way, I want you to know his hair is even floppier in person. I've met him.
Matt's
and
a tremendous writer. He's a good
he's
guy.
a great writer, and everybody should read this story about. We posted on it, but you should go to Wired and read this like very long story about his tale of just utter like
It's
personal
it's calamitous.
destruction.
So at the end of all, he finds out what's going on. At the end of it all, there is a Call of Duty clan that they like to go out and cause trouble.
I
They
must have-
wanted his Twitter handle.
I missed this Call of Duty part.
No, that's how they started. Now they're like
Right.
hacking. Anyway, they wanted his Twitter handle because it's 3 letters.
They wanted it for the lulls.
And
Literally, this is the reason that
This is
guy
the reason.
lost all of the photos of his daughter from her first year of life.
Yep.
Because these
We'll get
idiots.
to that aspect of it.
Sorry.
So what they did is
What's the Twitter handle?
Matt, M-A-T. So these guys, they figured out that Twitter was linked to iCloud. iCloud is linked to Gmail. And then Gmail is linked to Amazon.
I think what happened was he had the same.
Everything fed back into his iCloud.
Well, I think he had used the same email address for a bunch of different
And
things.
someone told me it was something to do with the last 4 digits.
Well,
of
that's
the credit card
he's going to
number
get.
and
He's
So
gonna
this
get-
is-
that's. Hold on.
Yeah, this is all
Take it easy.
All right, sorry.
So Apple will basically reset your iCloud password
Right.
and tell you what it is. They will allow you in if you provide them with. You can get the security questions wrong.
Right.
But if you give them the last 4 digits, of a credit card number that's tied to your account.
Haven't they had problems with their security?
Wait a second. Hold
questions
on. Wait.
before with the,
I don't think that's exactly how it works.
with the
actually.
iTunes?
I think how it works is. I think what happened here
Let me
is.
bring up this post so I can
I think.
continue.
I think it has. I think how this worked is that.
So he called Amazon and he said, "I'm Mat Honan. Can I?"
No, I think he started. I actually think they started with. We should really know the sequence, but I'm pretty sure they started with iCloud.
Yep.
And there's like basic information. If you know some of the basic information, they'll give you a password reset. And then, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is how it went. Then once he had access to the iCloud account, the hacker wiped all the stuff so that he couldn't get back into the account, and then used. Because what they wanted to get to was the Twitter account, and he was trying to. I guess they were trying to find the email address that was associated with the Twitter account,
Yep.
and that was different than the iCloud account. But that iCloud account email address was associated with his Amazon account, and it's very complicated.
Let me just get through it.
Just go through it. It's very. I mean, like a regular person who had no malicious intent would in a million years never figure this out. But like a group of like 14-year-olds.
Right.
No, they
they're
instantly
like,
figured it out.
They're 19. I mean,
So the key to this thing is he called Amazon. He said, "I want to add a credit card number to my account." And
this is part of it.
they said it. And once they got the credit card number,
They made a fake credit card number, which
Yep.
you can do, and add it to your account. And then you can call Amazon back and say, I lost access to my account. And all you need to give them is the last four numbers
So here we go.
of that credit
All you
card.
need is a billing address and the last 4 digits of a credit card number that anyone needs to get in your iCloud account.
And so anybody could
Is
steal.
that's for
anybody
iCloud?
could steal your mail
and then what,
do
and then
that.
what's the thing with Amazon?
He added the number to Amazon. Hold on.
But why does that have any effect on iCloud?
This is insane.
What is the surely somebody in our chat knows.
Oh, because I know what it is.
Here we go.
Once you get the password into Amazon, you add a credit card number, you can look at that page and it will show you all the credit cards on file.
Oh,
on
then he used that
Amazon.
credit card for the
So
iCloud
then
account.
then they went and looked at the Amazon.
Is that
page.
right?
That's right.
Is that how it works?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. However, so it was a part.
Because Amazon will let you in.
Okay, so but what happened? I think the long and short of it is that it exposed two like pretty huge
Gaping
security
security
flaws in both Apple
Well,
and
Apple's
Amazon.
had some big ones.
Here, let me just read
Didn't
this.
Apple have a big
All right.
one with the App Store
This
before?
is super easy.
Didn't Apple have
First,
a
you
big
call
one before?
Amazon. First, you call Amazon and tell them
got
you're the.
shushed by
I
Pizza
Hut.
know, but let me just read this to you.
He just wants to read this.
First, you call Amazon, tell them you're your account holder. You want to add a credit card number to the account. You need the account, and email address, and billing address.
Yeah.
They put it in. Then you call you call Amazon back and say, "I've lost my account.
Yeah. Here's
Here's my credit card
Yeah,
number."
yeah.
And then they let you in, and then you can see the 4 digits of a real credit card.
Oh, that's right. Of a real credit card that he had on his
then you can
iCloud
call-
account.
Yeah, that's what you
iCloud.
guys
And then
just said.
that's right. Well,
so here's a question.
It's crazy.
Here's a question. Didn't Apple have this happen to them before with the App Store?
No, they had a
No, like a different
had
flaw
some-
where people were taking accounts because of a security password.
they weren't using the 3 numbers like the
Right.
extra security code on cards. They weren't like asking for that.
Yeah.
So there was some way that like people could like if the session was still going that you'd be able to if you got the login info you'd be able to make purchases.
It's
Right.
so
So,
something like
so
that.
I think that's all social engineering hacking.
That's the preamble.
But I want to say this next line that Matt has was actually the one that like gave me chills because you don't have to call Amazon to pull this off. Your pizza guy could do the same thing. If you have an Apple ID every time you call Pizza Hut and you're giving the 16-year-old on the other end of the line everything he needs to take over your life.
Yeah.
but Apple's going to fix
bonkers.
this, right?
Well, they've already
shut down
shut
the
down
pieces.
So within a day or two of this being published, Amazon fixed its loophole, and Apple shut down its password recovery the way they've been doing it, and they're obviously changing their policies. But I think what it exposes more than anything, and I think we all know this.
So just to say, like, I freaked out when this happened.
I think
on
we all
Saturday
freaked
and
out.
Sunday.
We
Like,
told we were like,
everybody, the whole staff,
yeah, we
was
were
changing
like,
their
"Dude,
passwords.
if you're not using use 2-step, so we'll get to that in a second. But everybody should take stock of like what they're doing and be like, how can I make my stuff safer?
I lose like a credit card. It's like somehow people steal my credit card. This happened to me like right before I left the internet, and someone put like a $300 AT&T web hosting charge on it.
That was
It's ridiculous.
And so, like, I it happens to me often. It's incredibly frustrating, and I'm a little worried after like leaving the internet because, like, remember there's the Gawker leak of logins, and then the Sony hack.
Yep.
Like
And the others are just a Yahoo one.
Yeah, we actually one of our guys had his password.
Yeah.
Louis
So
Goddard.
if any random database gets cracked and I'm in one of those, I have no knowledge of it for a long time,
Well-
and it's kind of wild how much destruction could obviously.
Well, it's also
Oh,
I mean,
Dropbox just had something too.
yeah, a little bit.
I mean, and I always think when I log into these new services, I'm just like, I always think, who am I giving?
yeah.
How
Who
good
am I
are they
giving?
at this?
Or just who are they?
Right.
Like maybe their service goes belly up in a year, and they're like, maybe I'll do something with these passwords.
So with this,
mean-
so here, that's like the one thing. It's like
Maybe I'll drown my sorrows in a
well,
Call of
it's
Duty
like
clan.
I
That's right.
really hate logging into things with Facebook and Twitter. I hate it.
I actually like it.
Do you?
Yeah.
I hate it. I can't. I feel like they're gonna do something bad or like.
See, to me,
Cloud's gonna start tweeting
I actually
for
think
me.
Twitter.
or-
I think Twitter is the one that feels safest to me. I mean, I'll say like, well,
Really?
because you can't really do much with Twitter. Like the most you could do to my Twitter account is start tweeting from it.
Right.
Like, and if you tweet from my Twitter account, I'm gonna know immediately.
Right.
And I'll just kill the app. Facebook is like, who knows what they're doing? Like they're calling my friends up. They're, I don't know, like downloading my photos and putting them on,
Something that
photo
happened like
sites.
when
I
I
have
was
no
like in
idea.
high school
Yeah.
is like people would hack into their friends or somebody's MySpace account and then like fake out them as gay.
Oh, that's
And so
awful.
you'd have like everybody like, oh, I always knew, or
Oh, man.
like you'd have.
That's
Oh,
it's
so it was like
horrible.
really like a regular like, hey, I
Yeah,
want to
just
let
a
everybody
regular-
know I'm coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
People
Oh,
are like,
that's
oh,
awful.
I'm happy. I always thought that you, and then it's like I'm actually straight and getting married next month
Oh God, that's the worst.
to a lady
Yeah.
or a dude, depending on who you
Well,
are. Anyhow, but the point is, the more, and by the way, I think a lot of this is FUD. Like the more our lives are in the cloud, the more we have to be worried about security.
Wait, I don't think it's fun at all. I mean,
I do think there's a certain level of FUD,
It happened to one guy. It doesn't happen to everybody all the time.
and it is not, and this.
you know why they did it? Because I mean, this is the culture of the internet that like drives me crazy. They wanted to screw with his Twitter handle because they wanted it.
Sure.
And they just drove their.
And they did it.
Yeah, but people
And
smash
they did
windows
it,
of shops and steal
then
things because they want the
I mean,
stuff in the window.
The thing is that like
yeah,
know,
but you don't.
every once in a while these huge break-ins happen.
But we don't live in a
And then they get
society
dealt
full
with
of
and
barred
we fix
windows,
them again.
right? I mean, like, we don't. That's not the expectation.
we all got to carry guns.
Wait. I live on 14th Street, and there's a
Bar windows everywhere.
they pull down those garage doors in front of all the stores every night.
No, but here's the thing. But here's
I don't know
the,
what that has
but
anything
this
to
is
do
no,
with
but
what
this is
we're
the
talking
part.
about,
The
but-
Do you
part
want every piece of the internet to be a neighborhood?
no,
where they're pulling down the
here's
bars
the
of it?
problem. Here's the part that's really upsetting to me is like, what is of value to you? Like, if your credit card gets stolen and somebody starts charging you something on it, you can put a stop to that, and the banks will fix the problem. Like they understand what credit card fraud looks like, and they know how to deal with it.
You know, actually, Chase just preemptively sent back in your credit card because they're like,
Oh, they do that to me
your
all the
numbers
time.
at risk.
They're
No,
like,
that's
you know,
what I'm saying.
we
They
have
do that all the
Okay,
time.
but then they're getting pretty good at like preempting the problems before like somebody spends all your money. What is truly terrifying and upsetting about this, and what makes me the most worried, like one of the things I like best about my Galaxy Nexus is that when I take pictures, and I'm sure people who have iPhoto feel the same way, and you use iCloud, when you take pictures on your phone, they get uploaded to the cloud. You don't have to worry about syncing them to a hard drive or syncing them to your computer or whatever. Like, to me, the things that are really valuable, they're not like, not my music collection,
Right.
or even my email in some ways. Like the email, of course, I'd be very upset if my email got wiped out, but like they're not like valuable memories to me, the vast majority of them. But things like photos that you're uploading to the cloud, like personal things, like that stuff really freaks me out that he lost his photos of his.
Right.
First off, the fact that they could wipe his computer, I actually didn't know, or have not really ever engaged this, like that you can turn on like a wipe my computer mode on Find My iPhone or whatever.
Yeah.
That seems like
Well, that's
really.
the funny thing is that's a security thing. That's a personal protection thing. That's designed to,
I mean,
worst case scenario, lose my computer.
This is
sensitive files are on that, I need to shut it
think.
down.
This is what I think. If there is a mode that lets your device get wiped, it needs to have like a truly some
Yeah, it needs
human.
all kinds of fail.
There needs to be some human failsafe there where if your stuff's going to get wiped, they like call your home phone or your wife or somebody, and they say, just to let you know, your computer has been like a wipe has been engaged on it. Like, do you actually
Can I
want
just
to do
read a
this or
comment
not?
from our chat?
Yeah, please do.
Which really, truly bothers me.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Oki, I'm going to pick on you.
Uh-oh.
Next story, this guy got pwned because he was a media guy who puts everything on the internet and believes in convenience over privacy. Why would you even have remote wipe on your laptop? What's the value on there?
I mean, this
So
is,
that's like,
I mean, this is
you
coming from a
understand,
person.
that's just
it's coming from a
blaming the
person-
victim.
This is coming from a person who has never had you've never had your laptop stolen or
And again,
any
this isn't-
personal. People steal
this isn't
phones and
living-
laptops all the time. This is why you put remote wipe on your laptop, because if somebody breaks into your house and steals your laptop, or you leave it on a park bench, somebody picks it up, you don't want them to have all your shit.
And
Right.
this isn't living your whole
not-
entire life on the internet.
He's on his laptop.
Like
I mean,
no, like you get a billing statement. It shows the last 4 numbers of your credit card. And,
Yeah.
and someone could use that to basically do anything inside of your email. Like that's
Right.
not living on
Right.
the internet.
No,
And
I mean,
also,
that's a
everybody
broad,
lives on the
This is a
internet
very
now.
broad generalization this guy's making.
No,
I
but I'm
mean,
saying, but everybody,
The fact is,
everybody lives on the internet.
no, I mean,
now.
there's 900 million people on Facebook. Everybody uses Twitter. Everybody uses Gmail and Hotmail and Yahoo. Like, those are the mail clients that people use. Like, people use Mac Mail and Outlook, but like hundreds and hundreds of millions, if not billions of people use online mail clients.
Yeah.
And they're storing photos on. It's like, well, you're right.
You know,
You're right.
you're,
No, we should live like Luddites because
this guy.
Well,
Right.
well, I wonder what the balance is. Like, so this very specific case is tragic and horrible and terrifying, right? And it's scary for anybody that has the majority of their stuff in the cloud, But contrast that to my house growing up would get flooded sometimes, and you could maybe if you were storing a box of photos on the floor, they're ruined.
Yeah.
well, actually, it's
My copy
wait,
of Purple Rain
Hold on, that's
on
dumb.
vinyl was ruined. When I was
Can
a
I just
child.
can we just divert
like it's been possible for your personal memories and your personal possessions and things that are very personal and important to you to be interfered with and stolen
but hold on,
before in the past.
can I just make a comment on what you just said? Like,
I'm not saying it's right.
your house gets flooded and your box of photos they don't actually get completely ruined. There's actually something I've talked about a lot with Laura, which is the resilience of physical things, the resilience of books. Like, we have books in our house that were printed in like 1900.
Yeah.
And they've like
No,
withstood,
they would
withstood
burn.
like getting thrown and dropped and ripped and like all this stuff. Like,
What are you doing to these books?
just in the last week.
You know what's crazy?
No, but these books have been through in the photos as well. You see old photos, like we have old photos from her family, and they're like they've been in
Right.
basements and they've been in water and all this stuff.
I have vinyl records that were pressed in 1965.
Yeah. No, and I do think that one of the things is that here's the thing: you can't throw and drop and burn a hard drive and expect to get anything from it. You can like throw, drop, and burn a book, and you may be able to recover. Like, there is like a chance that there's
Burn
like a
a
lot.
book, you're
Well,
not
maybe
gonna
not
get a
burn.
lot.
Maybe not burn. But it could be flooded. It could
There
be
is-
dropped.
there
It
is
could
an
be
aspect
It could be
there.
thrown across the room. Whatever. I do think that.
And it's also there's something like I get to make the decision whether I lock my front door or
Right.
not. But
But I mean, there is a
there's
resilience
some
to
sort of,
physical-
like, if I carry this really, if I get one of those, fanny packs that goes under your shirt
Yeah.
to hold your passport,
Yeah.
you could do that, or you could have it hanging out your back pocket. You have a very tangible understanding of how secure your
I think
physical
there's a
possessions
resilience
are.
to physical things that we can't match in the digital world. But what I will say is that the cloud, and what makes me want to store things in the cloud, is that it has a resilience that I can never match, which is such a high
Industrial
amount
backup.
such a high amount of redundancies that like only in truly a catastrophic 1 in a million
Right.
situation would that stuff be lost. And particularly with a company like Google, who has been doing it for so long and is such a important part of the web and understands so natively how to own and control like large amounts of data. I like part of this is this like, how do you balance? Excuse me. How do you balance this desire to keep the things that are yours and to keep them safe with like the challenges of whether it's physical in your house or virtual on a server somewhere?
Right, but then this ties right into it, all this privacy stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Right, the only way you can get the resiliency is by trusting a third party like
Yeah.
Google.
Well-
and you have to trust them a lot.
And not
And
just
nobody's reading those privacy.
It's not just the trust, but it's not just trust, because that's like, will they do something I don't want them to do with my stuff? The bigger question is, will they protect my stuff in a way that actually works? And I think that here, both Apple and Amazon had serious problems
major
with the way
flaws.
they were protecting that stuff. But I also think, like, when you look at something like you're going to erase the laptop, I do think we have to introduce some more physical interaction than like a beacon on the on a server somewhere that says go do this. I feel like you need to physically speak to someone. I think if it's like you
The
can
problem with physically speaking with someone is that's where a lot of the social engineering happens.
yeah, but this is the most basic stuff. Like there've
Well,
got
I
to
think
be
you
better.
need like a secondary pin. You can't just log in an iCloud account and be like erase it.
Right.
You need at least one more password.
I-
that
Yeah,
nobody
it
gets.
should be like the last 4 digits of your credit card.
No, but I think there are. I look, we're going to learn. People are going to learn the hard way. Unfortunately for Matt, not that he learned. This wasn't a mistake on his part. I don't think. I think it was a mistake on their part. But I think that his case is really instructive because now, we see a real world. Here's a real world situation where you see what the stakes are, and hopefully that'll be one more place where we tighten up security. This will be 2 more things that we won't do in the future.
I think it'll be instructive and helpful. What's scary is that, let's say, Anonymous figured out this process and got a huge stack of names that they wanted to do this to, and did it on a wide scale before the loopholes were fixed. When it happens one at a time like this, everybody takes stock, changes their password. The companies change their process, but something like Anonymous has the the power to do something like this on a wide scale.
I don't know if they do. This requires actually a good bit of social engineering, and even though Anonymous can seem very organized at times, I think that a lot of that organization is the kind of organization that requires you to click on the link.
but
if this happened to 1,000
one
people,
person could have done this to 10 people in a day.
No, absolutely.
right? So
but,
if this happened to 1,000 people
there could have
or
been
10,000 people, there would be.
But there could be
blood
100. There could be
blood in the
100.
streets.
But there could be 100 terrorist attacks at once in America, and there aren't.
Right.
There might be someday, but I'm saying
No.
there is not 9/11s aren't happening every day here, right? And I think that these are akin to a type of terrorist attack, and in the sense that this is there is no point beyond terror for this.
Man, I really wish we weren't talking about
Terrorism.
serious terrorism. But
Why? Because this is. I think this is a form of
there's
it.
an aspect of that where
It
it's
is. No, I agree with you.
There's
but
that
they're the same
aspect
kind of. These
that,
aren't organized people.
Where you have a lot of small terrorism that happens all the time. A small, random, senseless shooting, relatively contained, and so you don't freak out about it. You don't think about it a lot, and then you have something as immense and catastrophic as a 9/11. You don't necessarily take stock in the America must be doing well.
Yeah, I guess
Soccer just
badly.
happened.
in the soccer
in
match.
the soccer.
But
But
what do you mean? I guess I'm confused about your point.
No, you don't.
But this is
so there were bombings at the World Trade Center before 9/11.
yeah,
And they didn't change how everybody lives their lives.
right.
9/11 did.
I think it definitely changed it for a time. I think there are still echoes of that, but I
I still wait half an hour longer at the airport.
well, yeah. It changes the way your airport experience. But the point is that my point was not to focus on how catastrophic 9/11 was, but to say that terrorists could attack America all at once, in 100 different ways, but they don't. And there are reasons for that. It's not as easy as I don't think it's as easy as you think it is. I think we make it really hard for people to do stuff like that, and also it requires an enormous amount of organization and resources.
But so this didn't.
and
though.
money.
This is what I'm saying.
No,
So
this
really
didn't.
simple
No,
and
this
easy.
is simple and easy, but it required a type of knowledge that not everybody has, and
I'm
an
not saying-
organized.
no, that's the thing,
An
not
organized
everybody
attack like
is
this would
doing
not.
it.
Would not an organized attack would not.
But
If they got
wait,
if
hold
Apple
on.
if
Let
Apple
me-
support
no,
got
no.
100 calls at the same time doing this,
I don't think you need to do 100 calls. I think you just need to not. I think you need to get in and not screw around. That's it. That's all you got to do.
that could be happening, but again, requires an enormous organizational.
I'm not saying
effort.
right
And
now.
one person can
I'm
just
not
It could be
saying,
one person, but to organize what are they doing?
What do you mean?
They're just sitting on the information.
They're doing whatever they want. I mean, that's the thing. These holes like really.
I mean, Apple has.
You can't equate. I think this is the logic that is bothering me. You can't equate how our government thinks about preventing terrorism to how Apple and Twitter and Google
I'm
think
not.
about.
I'm not.
But that's what you're saying. It would be really hard. Apple would do a bunch of
I'm
stuff.
saying that for human beings,
Yeah.
it's hard for them to get organized and get the resources and put something together.
But this requires
I
no
agree-
resources.
I
I'm not
agree
saying
with
that.
that.
I'm not saying that Apple has made it hard or Amazon has made it hard. I mean, they try to make it harder. I'm saying that it's hard for human beings to be like Bane's army in The Dark Knight Rises. Like that's not a real thing that would happen that easily. Like Bane wouldn't just show up, grab the guys from prison, they'd start following him, and whatever.
Agree,
like that.
I agree with that. It's not likely, but we talked about this before. But the Minecraft server, like you had several, dozen people coming onto the Vergecast server, which is a relatively small target,
Right,
and
and
spending hours.
Yeah, but what's the
at
barrier?
a time?
But what's the barrier to entry on griefing?
No, it's a low
like
barrier.
literally zero effort.
Of course, it's a no. It's
some
It's
effort.
easy to learn how to do it, but you spend like an hour or two doing things like you hide and you like make yourself invisible and you
Yeah, but that's just a bunch of kids
that.
like goofing around. And this is just a bunch of kids goofing around too.
Right. But
Right.
That's what you're saying.
And
Like,
you know what kids goofing around aren't? Organized. And they don't have plans.
no, look, let me make the direct comparison.
Please do.
Do you want the when
The bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Have you heard of Toyota?
No. And when all this was happening, Becky and I were talking about when we were kids, right? And we were both apparently morons who should both be in jail. Because I used to run around like throwing rocks through windows, and she used to drive around in cars with like kids who sold pot.
That's
and,
terrible.
Yeah,
The
well-
rocks, the pot, I'd like to meet those people.
But like those things had consequences because it was
Apparently
in front
not.
of you.
You became a lawyer.
I figured out how to break the system.
Beat the system. Its own game.
No, I mean, they had consequences. Like I got caught, and her friends went to jail. Like all this stuff happened.
You got a
right?
$22 million slap
But
on
kids
the wrist.
I got a $22 million slap on the wrist.
But kids don't stop. But kids are still throwing rocks through windows.
They are because those consequences didn't happen to them. But they're at least society like made them pay some price for
Who?
the like when you do bad things as a teenager. More often than not, you get caught.
Yeah, but teenagers still do bad things.
But that
Doesn't deter other teenagers.
because. You know what the least effective way to deter a teenager is?
What's
Is
that?
to say, I was once a teenager and I got caught.
I'm just saying.
That's not an effective deterrent.
I'm just saying. I think you're working towards like some sort of punishment.
But the amount of damage you can do as a teenager on the internet is far greater, and in
Yes,
some cases
I
far
agree.
easier
Yes.
than me leaving my
like-
house
I agree.
late at night
It's
with
like-
a rock
you said,
window.
and like you said, teenagers still do bad things.
That's right. No, I agree with you. The damage is far greater. It's far more severe.
because your punishment must be more severe.
Punishment must be more severe. There's no question. It's far worse what they can do.
Yeah.
And these kids these days are far meaner, as far as I can tell.
Well, no, I mean, this is what Paul's talking about with Vergecast, is the instinct to be...
You little jerks.
A jerk. No, the instinct to be a jerk and to like cause
it's-
trouble is
and
high.
Oh God, we sound old.
No,
Listen
it's
to
not
us.
that. But it's because we've placed a lot of faith into all of these systems
This is
that
why
like the
this is
basic
why we
level
gotta,
of like jerkiness is.
That's why we got to let Comcast just lock it down.
We should lock down the internet. You want to move on?
No, I don't want to move on. I want to finish what we're talking about. Well, what's the solution? Better security.
But
Punishment? Severe punishment.
I don't think jailing like a
How much
generation
more-
of teenagers.
How much more
will scare
severe?
the
How
next-
much more severe should their punishment
Like let's
be?
put all like that's just a bad.
From 13
Guys,
to 17.
I have to leave and write a young adult novel about how
From
Why?
13, 13
the
to
teenagers are
17,
all in jail.
All in jail.
Yeah.
That's great.
you go to jail
You
from
can make
13 to
so mu-
17.
I want to option
Wow,
the movie
that's
rights to that
great.
right now.
Right?
13 to
because
17.
the chances of you
But
getting
when
jerked
they
are
come
too
out,
high.
when they come out being even worse,
you only let out the good ones.
They'll come out and Bane will hand them the
Bane will be
shotgun.
like, "Hey, have a gun. Let's do something fun together.
if that's what happens in the movie.
Let's do something fun.
Let's take over Gotham. What do you say?"
It's terrible. I don't know. If
I
this is
learned.
an
I
issue.
learned what Bane's voice actually
It's like
sounds
it's like Bane with a monocle.
No, that's how he sounds, man. That's his voice. It's Bane with a monocle is his voice. All right, let's move on.
We're trying. There's nothing here that's as good as made with the monocle.
topics.
So there's some crap about Surface.
What about Surface? Oh,
The
what?
CEO of Acer warned Microsoft about doing Surface.
I just feel like this is not a news story to me.
Think twice about Surface. He said.
Think twice.
Yeah, Acer's like, think twice. Because we need money from people who will buy things that run Windows.
And Ballum is no, I'm not gonna make that joke.
So that happened. Lenovo put out a bunch of business-oriented ThinkPad tablets. That happened.
The ThinkPad tablet, I saw the new ThinkPad. I was looking at it today.
Yeah.
It is nice, I guess. It is uninspiring design.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought the last
I don't
ThinkPad
expect them
tablet
to
looked
do.
really good.
Here's my
I've
big-
never
Do you see the
used
leak
it.
of the Sony one today?
I did not see that. I was on a train for part
The
of the day.
Xperia tablet leaked out today.
How's it look?
I mean, it looks good. You know,
It's a PC.
no, it's an Android tablet.
Oh.
Wait. Is it a slab with a screen?
Yeah, but it's like
Like, how
it's
much-
more.
It's
it
got,
looks
it's got
cool.
a curve.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's, you know, the
Surface
way that
seems
they
the
made it
only.
It's got
thinner.
that book curve.
Yeah.
That was a big
Made
hit
it
for
look-
them last time.
Well,
Yeah,
It worked really well. I mean,
honeycomb.
Surface seems the only interesting thing being done in tablet form factors, which is kind of why.
Dude, I kind of like my Nexus 7 has a wide variety of hardware issues, but I really enjoy using
Well, no,
it.
it's a great size, but it's not.
I'll be
like
honest with you,
making
I
a
was on the
7-inch
train
tablet is
today.
not the most original idea ever.
I was on the train today. I was reading a book on my Nexus 7.
Yeah.
I do really like it.
It has a
It's-
crappy screen.
No, my screen is fine.
Mine looks washed out, and the brightness sensor is super
Mine
super
looks okay.
insecure.
Mine looks okay.
Like my brightness sensor, it's literally like,
should
is this
return
the
it.
right brightness? What about this one?
Should return
this
it.
one? Maybe it's this one.
Have you thought about
Maybe
returning
you
it?
should
And then
tape
my touch sensor is really
LED light.
funky.
I
It's
next to the
fine. I'm just gonna.
brightness.
I just turn off automatic brightness, but whatever.
Oh,
I don't know. I like the rough and tumbleness of it.
Yeah, I mean, I really
It
like it.
feels really good.
I use it.
It feels good. It's lighter. You just throw it
Do
in the
you
bag.
find-
I kind of. I
actually
don't
put
know
it in
what
your
I
back
would do with
pocket,
it, but
which
I'm
is
very
surprising.
jealous of people that have them.
Yeah, you wouldn't go to do
But so
anything
you
with
take yours places. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I go through this process. I come home, I plug in the phone, and then I use the Nexus 7 as like the giant phone I carry on my house.
Yeah, I do
And
that.
then when I have to do real work, I pick up my laptop.
I do that also, but like if I have to deal with email, it's a better experience to deal with it. You having a problem with that, Mike?
Yeah, this thing keeps getting loose.
It's a better experience to deal with it on the Nexus 7 than it is. Excuse me, than it is on the.
This explains why you've been sending so many terse emails that are like, "Yep,
Nope. Yeah. Well, it's easier to deal with it on the Nexus 7 than on the phone or on an iPad, and it's
Yeah.
like a good in between point to like I don't want my laptop out because
Yeah.
that's like.
Have you noticed it doesn't render fonts on our webpage very well?
It does. Chrome does some weird things.
Yeah.
Like some of them render fine, and then others don't. And I feel like that's more of our problem than Chrome's problem. That's my guess. Like we've got some funky code somewhere.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
I will say I've been a huge proponent of the 7-inch size for a long time, but I am finally getting really good at typing on my iPad on-screen keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You know,
pretty,
Alice just did a
pretty
huge
like
review
I can
you
like in
can't
one
read it.
sitting I can write. I checked out most of those keyboards.
Yeah.
Which one do you like? I like that Logitech one a lot.
I like the in case.
I like the Logitech one that is the case.
Yeah, it's
It
just
feels pretty good.
It's if you want your iPad to be a laptop, you get the Logitech.
That's what I want.
But if for me, I like to use the iPad as an iPad a lot. Sometimes I don't even want to have the smart cover on. I just want it to be the iPad. And then when I want to type with a full-size Apple Bluetooth keyboard that has the delete key in the correct position, not in a far top right corner. It's to me that's so I really like the end case. Anyways,
That's great.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I can write like 3,000 or 5,000 words on the iPad keyboard pretty well, and I don't think I could do that on a 7.
You could try. You're like a new wave teen. You should go to jail.
Yeah, you know what?
Bad
All I'm
ideas.
doing is hacking,
Just writing poetry on your iPad.
writing poetry.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, by the way, that we
texting
tried to
girls.
talk about new tablets and instantly started talking about. Yeah, no.
Square Legalcast.
I see what you're doing, Creighton.
It's really moving us along here.
Yeah, Creighton's
If you're
bored.
wondering why the Vergecasts have been shorter,
We need like an
Blame
on-screen
Creighton.
like moving along
what do
graphic.
what do we have?
And
what-
moving along is the new segment.
Can I say one more tablet thing? Mm-hmm. Galaxy Note 10.1 is supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. Very excited for it.
Oh man,
Are
I
you?
wanted that thing.
Super
Pressure
jazzed for
sensitive,
it.
dude?
Pressure sensitive, Wacom, and
At last.
you know they do the 2-screen app thing.
Oh,
so it's
really?
like having because
Oh.
Android apps are only good at 7
Oh.
inches. So it's like you have two
Hold on
Nexus
now.
7 side by
Yeah,
side.
you can have- but it's got TouchWiz, right?
You can have your
Yeah,
Gmail on
but
one
whatever.
side.
It's
and
got
you can draw
Wiz.
cool pictures on the other side.
Yeah.
Although ladies,
super pumped
ladies
for it.
do love the Wiz. So
Oh God, you're done.
maybe I ought to get one.
The Square news is boring. I don't want to talk about it.
Square is
Square did some stuff with Starbucks.
Square's not
right?
interesting to me.
Is that the news? Do you want to
We
talk
covered
about
it. Creighton's really excited about Starbucks taking Square payments.
Creighton will not let us leave this room.
He's like, you're talking about Square, or else.
There was one thing that you don't have in your list, Creighton. Apple pulled the YouTube app from iOS 6.
Oh yeah, that was a
Which
big
is-
story at the beginning of the week. We actually.
but I thought Google was making a YouTube.
Well,
they're
yeah,
doing
so
both.
Google's going to
They're
make an
doing both.
app.
Which
for
app
the
first?
So according to Apple, they're licensed for YouTube.
Yeah.
The YouTube.
We don't
app.
know what that license says.
Yeah, we
but
don't.
some
really know.
license that lets
and
you make a
some
YouTube app.
license ran its course and they didn't renew it.
Yep.
Go big surprise. They didn't continue a partnership with Google, and so
So
Google's
it's like
making.
exactly like a 5-year license or something.
It could be
guess.
year to year. Who knows? right? Or
so
version to
Google
version.
is Google
I
is
want to
make,
believe it's a 5
Google is making Google is making
Google's
a
making Google?
Google is making a YouTube app.
Best new Tumblr. Google making Google.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just them coding like center a line and then like embed like the JPEG.
Yeah.
And then they like make like a text entry bar.
Yeah, Google making Google. Anyway,
Like it's just a video of somebody hand coding
And then the next
Google
and then the
front
next
page.
scene is someone typing into the search box how to make Google. How do I make Google? And then the next box is the first one again.
Yeah,
Ooh.
where they're coding it again.
Can somebody make that? Does everybody understand what's going on?
it's a gift
group-
waiting to happen.
It's a blank. It's a blank.
blank
text
that's
editor.
That's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's two.
Yeah. No. It maybe it's.
Is
a
it from
split,
behind?
it's
Is
a
it over
split-
the shoulder of the
split
people
screen.
making
Oh, it
Google?
could be over the. No.
That's what I was
What if it was a
envisioning.
split screen, and so it's a blank web page, blank text, and as you start typing the HTML, the different elements are popping
No,
in.
that's
so
too.
at first,
I
I
think
think it's
it's too
HTML.
complicated.
I think it's like somebody
I see a
drawing.
group of engineers looking at a monitor.
Yeah.
Blank. Scene one. Blank. Scene two. They're like dragging over the Google logo,
you gotta
and
type
one
it
is
in.
dragging over the search
They're
box.
like multiple.
Yeah,
operations.
there's multiple buttons.
It's going, and then scene three. How do I make Google?
Yeah.
And then scene
What if
one
it-
is the.
it's like one of those like war rooms where all the generals are standing around like a hologram.
Too much.
Of
Too many
but
memes.
They each have a mouse and they're dragging things.
I don't think
with a
Google would have
mouse.
taken that many people.
Yeah.
There's how many things are there to drag?
Just like
If the
two.
nav bar
As far as
is
I'm
one-
concerned, there's two.
But
It's the logo in the
It's
field.
the logo in this field.
Search field.
Yeah.
Maybe
well,
the
two
box.
buttons. You need search and I'm feeling lucky.
I'm feeling lucky it's not a button, actually. Get out.
Is it a link?
I think it's a link.
Well,
You know, I
I'm
haven't
pretty
used
sure-
the Google homepage. That's a
remember.
button.
Oh, it is
what
a
are you
button.
talking about?
Huh. Has it always been a button?
I used
Yes.
to go to the Google homepage all the time.
It's always been a button? Can you
Yes,
go to the...
it's always been a
whatever,
button.
doesn't matter.
I'm not going to archive.org to make
Go to
sure it's
archive.org. No, it's fine. I don't care. Just Google if I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky always been a
what
button.
happens if you Google how to make
No,
Google?
it was always. But I remember when like
it's a lot of crap.
Mac OS 10 had those huge aqua like
Yeah.
super bulbous buttons. So I was like, man, there's a lot of huge bulbous buttons on Google.
Please stop saying bulbous buttons for everybody
Look,
to say.
so they pulled the app from iOS
They
6.
pulled the app from iOS 6.
They're
They
gonna make a
issued-
new app.
They issued a statement.
Our license is up.
They're now...
And so we... I'm
So maybe
convinced, by the way,
the
this is
YouTube
going to
app
end.
will
You think
actually
Apple's
get
going to
better.
make a video site?
No, I don't think you can't compete with YouTube.
No.
As we continue to find out.
I just feel like you
By
wrote
trying to
an
use-
editorial that was like, it's good for Apple, it's good for Google, it's bad
great
for the
for
consumer.
Apple.
It does kind of suck
Bad for the consumer?
I think so.
Why?
I mean, if
Well, you are taking
But the
away...
YouTube app has been like it's
YouTube
not
app-
that
it's really
bad.
not that bad. I don't know why everybody's like, it's so bad. I don't see
But it
that
doesn't have like a lot of the features that YouTube has.
no, but so I think this is the thing. If Google was making a YouTube app that could be as tightly integrated into iOS
Right.
as perhaps a YouTube app on Android,
Right.
because Android's more open,
Yeah.
then I would be like, okay, this is going to be a win, right?
Well, what's going to happen when you play a YouTube video now? When you want, it's not going to take you to the app.
It's
to
going to
play.
play in the
gonna launch-
browser.
it's
That's
not
like
gonna launch
whatever.
It'll play in the browser,
And
which,
then
by the way, is
Google-
not a great experience.
and then all the
Still.
other big video apps that I use on the iPad, like Vivo or Hulu, they all have ads because they've all built around the system to do pre-roll
Right,
ads.
YouTube was like kind of a nice, clean YouTube experience.
it was just
it's like
a YouTube.
It's like YouTube on Apple TV, which I'm going to now assume
Oh,
will
so
be.
you're saying
No,
now
I
it's gonna
think
have
that will stay.
ads?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know what you're
convinced.
trying to-
Well, I
I'm
mean, why-
convinced
why
the
wouldn't
YouTube
it?
app from Google will now support ads. So I don't think you can build a connected TV product
I
without
mean, but
YouTube.
we're not
and
living
Google
in a
can't build that.
fantasy like La La Land where Google can't put ads on videos.
I'm not. I don't.
They don't put it. There are no ads on the
I
videos.
don't. The business reality is.
Are
one
there
thing.
ads on the videos in the YouTube app on the iPhone?
No,
There you go.
and not on the Apple TV. But now I'm convinced the new app will support
the
ads.
question is, will this support? Because there's some specific things. Like some of the if some people have these specific TV channels sometimes have YouTube channels that you can't watch because of the ad limitations or because they're like Comedy Central or something. What is it? No, Adult Swim maybe.
I'm not hearing a question.
Yeah. Look, I think
There's
Google will
like
make a
specific
YouTube app.
stuff that
It will
didn't
be
work
great.
in the YouTube app, so maybe there will be more videos that you can watch in the YouTube app.
Yeah, maybe you'll get more video. I'm saying for the average iPhone consumer, you'll download this app, you get YouTube. I'm convinced it will begin to have ads, which is a negative for the consumer, and it will be less tied into the operating system.
I just think like when you look at that's right. YouTube is tied into the operating system, and I don't know how much that'll change where you can upload videos
Right.
straight to YouTube.
And I think this would be less of a problem if iOS was more open and they could build an app that, like
but
Gmail.
hold on, but hold on.
Uploading to YouTube is an open API. It's not necessary. Like the
Yeah.
iMovie's still going to be able to
Well,
do that.
I'm just saying we don't know how deep the
like maybe the new app will be able to live
But we don't
stream
know
on
how-
YouTube once YouTube opens its live streaming stuff.
Sure,
on,
and maybe a unicorn will go flying out of your phone. I don't know, but I do think, I do think what's annoying and kind of depressing about this is that when the iPhone was first introduced, two of the things that were cool about it, two of the things that were selling points, and I think Jobs even talked about them. It was like you got Google Maps right here integrated
Yeah.
into the operating
Yeah.
system,
And YouTube.
and we're gonna give and then once apps came around, they were like, we're gonna give apps API access to the maps, so you can use Google Maps in your apps that you're making. And then it's like YouTube's built right in. You can watch YouTube videos here, and it was like that cool. It was cool because it was like Apple's making this cool thing, and then there's also this other stuff that I like that Apple doesn't make that's on here.
Yeah.
And like I'm happy to be able to use both of those things at the same time. And to me, like one of the most depressing pieces of like our new world of like, everybody has to own everything is that like the partnerships are like suffering and it's like bad for consumer. It's just bad for consumers. Like what Google Maps provides is great. It's great for consumers. I don't care. I don't care if Apple doesn't like Google. It's really good for consumers. And for them to build that from the ground up is a gargantuan effort.
right.
It's, I think, a distraction for Apple. I don't think it's where they
The
should
Google
be.
Maps
I don't think
is
it's where
an example.
Wait.
That's a bad thing.
Wait.
I don't think Maps is where Apple should be in software. I don't.
Wait, why?
Because I don't think it's one of their core competencies. I don't think mapping.
but they
I don't think
bought-
mapping
they
and
bought
social.
talent to make
I don't
it.
think mapping and social is one of Apple's core
Wait,
competencies.
those
and
are.
I don't.
Wait,
But do they have
stop.
to get good at it?
Social,
It's
I
like,
agree with you.
It's like Ping.
They
don't need
I
to be
got
in
you on
social.
Ping, but you want there to be vibrant, active composition and mapping, just to make everybody better. Google Maps will get better because Apple and Microsoft are there to compete with.
I mean, it's not like they don't have competition.
What is their competition?
MapQuest.
Now,
What are you-
Bing
what the
Maps.
hell are
Is
you
there
talking
is
about?
Bing
going
Maps
to be like a
Yeah, that's Microsoft. Is mapping one of Microsoft's core competencies?
doesn't appear to be, from what I've seen.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, like you want
Do you
that
use
to
Bing
happen.
Maps? Do you use
but
Bing
I think
Maps?
these mapping examples.
I don't- I'm not in that
the exact
ecosystem.
I would
opposite.
rather Apple spends time like on things like user experience and user interfaces. To be perfectly honest with you.
But I think this is totally different example because if Apple was getting rid of the YouTube app, making their own video service, and that's the only thing that's going to be integrated with their operating system, it'd be kind of sucky. But this is like Apple got rid of its Maps app, and instead you're going to get a download an app called Google Maps from the App Store, and you're going to have Google Maps.
No, actually, here's what a lot of users are going to do. They're going to get their phone or upgrade their phone with the new Maps application and never know that they don't have Google Maps and start wondering why Maps doesn't work the way they want it to or the way it used to.
I'm saying this
And also Google Maps you can't do anything with it in terms of like,
I'm
you can't
just saying-
default to it when you click on an address.
I'm saying this is different than owning everything because Apple's saying Google just make the YouTube app. We're not going to make a YouTube app for you. We don't need to make our own
We don't need to spend money building your
like our
phone.
own
Right.
our own
No,
apps for
they're
everything.
different.
What is
I
the
think there's a
market
difference
share?
between
What is the
Maps and
market-
YouTube.
What is the market
I
share
want
Apple
Apple
has
to
to be
make-
at in smartphones or tablets to be
Higher.
How high?
They're like
tablets-
20%.
But tablets is tablets just like a loophole because like they're just like it's just like another kind of computer
No, I don't think it's
because
no,
they own
you
the
can,
market
you can
share.
slice it up.
They
any way
probably
you
have
want.
90% of the market share. In
I think
tablets.
Apple run into antitrust stuff with tablets if they ever do, well before. But they're not there yet because nobody else wants to concede the market to them.
No, I get that.
You start complaining about antitrust when Microsoft is
So where will they have to
admitting
be? I mean, how many
give up.
years? How many years will it be if they continue their let's say hypothetically they continue their dominance in tablets? Of course, I think the Surface is going to probably screw that. Not the Surface, but Microsoft's tablet moves will probably screw that up.
There's
a little
no
bit.
law against having a huge market share. There's a law against abusing your market.
That's what I'm saying. Is at what point will someone say I should be able to choose what browser I use on my iPad instead of being forced to use Apple's browser?
But so what I'm saying, I'm glad Apple doesn't make a native Twitter client like
They do.
No, you can tweet from it.
Yeah.
But you
And
don't
that's
read
basically
your
it.
tweets in
Well,
it.
not yet.
No, like and so you integrate with APIs.
No,
but you
that-
allow
but-
people to make their
But
own.
they don't do
apps.
that. But they don't. They only do that with partners that they can fully control. They're not doing it with.
They
Right.
integrate with the YouTube API. You can upload straight to YouTube from QuickTime, from iMovie, on your phone or on your laptop.
Well, so we're two different.
No,
Antitrust.
I agree.
We're you were
I
asking
agree,
vastly
I
different
What about
questions.
privacy?
I agree with what you're
Slap
saying.
on the wrist.
I agree with what you're saying. I
Total
would prefer.
recall.
What I would prefer. There's two things I'd prefer from Apple. Don't make a YouTube app. Make your own Maps app. Go for it. Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Two things. Give API access the way you do for Twitter and Facebook
Right.
to other apps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Please.
And allow users to decide what their default application will be.
Yes. No.
If you did that,
I
I understand
absolutely
that.
agree with
I understand
you.
that. But
I
if
absolutely
they
agree.
did that,
That would be amazing.
Apple could do whatever it wanted.
It's so funny that I would be so grateful for that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's such a ridiculous, simple thing.
It's so simple, and you're so used to it.
Right.
You know, you get to decide what automatically opens on your computer, what browser you use. And it's wonderful because when you don't like the browser you're using
Yeah.
and a new one comes along that's better, you just
every
switch
2
it.
Can I
weeks.
just point out-
Every 2 weeks.
Yes, please do.
You can't do that on
What do you
Windows
mean?
RT.
What do you mean?
You can't. There's no other browser.
On what?
On Windows RT. Microsoft is moving away.
Oh.
The
That's-
paradigm example of browser
Yep.
choice on operating system.
They're
moving- they're moving away
I don't
from
think
it.
that'll be.
I'm
No,
just-
they'll
I'm
make a
just-
Chrome for Windows RT.
Look,
You'll be
Acer's
able to
gonna
choose.
make their
Just
own
saying.
browser.
But yeah, they're gonna. No,
I'm just saying.
I mean, won't you're saying Google's
every
not going to make
Windows
Chrome?
partner made
You're
their
saying
own
Google's not
operating-
going to make Chrome?
They're all complaining that they can't, man.
Well,
Firefox is saying they
It's
can't.
not. The software's not out yet.
I'm just saying.
I thought they came up with
You
a way
c-
that they could, but you're saying that now that they can't.
I think
They
the
can't.
software's not out yet, and Microsoft. No way. Microsoft.
There's already Chrome
There's
for
no
RT.
way Microsoft's
I've-
going back down the road of having to explain to people why you can't select a different browser.
That's where they were at with Windows RT. And these
But
people
the
are.
software's not out yet, and when it comes out, we'll see.
Chrome for Windows 8 Metro coming soon, says Google. I
There
do
you
not
go.
see.
There you have it. There, your argument's blown to bits.
Oh, but
Exploded.
that's for Windows 8, like not Windows RT.
No, but you can run it on the desktop.
On the
Metro's
desktop
just
side.
Metro's just an environment.
State of mind.
It's just state of mind.
Except for the
you
ARM-
don't have
except
to
for the
use-
ARM products,
but you don't have
where
to.
it's
no,
not a
but
state of mind.
If it's for RT, then you can use it on RT. Period. There is a desktop on RT.
No. Google's saying we'll do it for Windows 8, the Intel.
Are you
There's
sure?
there's no
Are you
RT
sure?
in there.
These aren't. They're not the same.
I understand that.
Yeah, no RT.
Oh,
in
they're
there.
not the same. Tell me more.
But you're saying
No,
it's not just
but I
Metro.
thought,
It isn't just Metro, that's what
maybe
I'm
this
saying.
has changed, but my understanding was that browser makers would be the special exception.
Hold on. Why are we talking about Windows when we're talking about Apple?
Because the market is going to this.
Well, the market may want to go to this, but I think
So
that
the
I think
two
it's going to be.
biggest computer
I think it's going to
companies.
be a problem for people, and this is not going to be. They're either back to the FTC,
I thought
or
there
they're
was
going to
a-
solve it themselves.
I thought
But there's
there was
no
a
way.
pathway.
There's no way users are going to go and get on their computer and not be able to use the browser they want. So
Look, the browser is integrally
Yeah, I mean, this
a
is-
part of our operating system. It's the file explorer. It's not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm just saying, I think Windows RT is, they're not going to be able to.
If there are 300,
and that is the bet. That is the
they're,
future
well,
of
they're
that.
not selling, but they're
Okay,
not selling
when I left
300
the
million
internet-
Windows RT machines, are
when
they?
I left
they're
the
selling
internet,
300
there
million
was a
Windows
method.
Intel machines.
When I left the internet, there was going to be a loophole for browser makers to be able to make ARM versions of their browsers that would run on Windows RT, but not necessarily in Metro.
Furthermore,
We'll see.
Just like Office.
Furthermore,
Office gets
Windows
that.
RT is at this point a nascent and perhaps never to be market. We don't know.
I disagree. Okay,
Well, I disagree too, but they are not going to sell 300 million RT machines. They're going to sell 300 million Intel machines.
Sure.
And 10 million
but
RT.
the future of that.
I agree. And when the future arrives, we'll deal with it.
So the very last thing.
Oh.
It's one. we're not even
Don't
talking
worry about him. You do what you got to do. You be quiet. I mean, even though you didn't say anything, actually. Go ahead. Don't let that man scare you.
Very last thing. We don't talk about length because I did a whole show on it yesterday. But Apple versus Samsung.
Yeah.
Got deep this week, man.
Hey.
Wow.
No, I mean there was. I think the one thing to really talk about that a bunch of expert witnesses. The woman who designed the original Mac icons was on.
Susan Kerr.
Susan Kerr.
Wow.
Yep. Now works at Facebook, but as an expert designer,
She designing those icons. Great job on the Facebook icons. They look really good.
well, she designed the GIFs. Anyway, all these people on.
Claire's
but
the dog cow?
The biggest thing that happened. 132-page document from Samsung, competitive analysis
geez.
of the iPhone.
This is brutal.
Almost every single page of this document is a comparison of the iPhone and the Galaxy S.
It is brutal.
And it says,
brutal.
here's how the iPhone works,
right.
here's how the Galaxy S works, and then it's directions for improvement, and almost every single one of them is change it to make it out.
It is. No. It is like
Apple introduced this.
I will say
it's in evidence,
I will say before this document, I felt like Samsung they had a chance to kind of be confusing to jurors.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like literally like iPhone home screen. Oh no, it has one's like really good. It's like iPhone alarm clock setting method, and ours, and it's like mechanical sound makes users, is familiar to users, and blah blah blah. And ours is like no mechanical sound, and it's doesn't. Seem,
That's our slide,
and it's
That's
like
directions
it's like
for
directions.
improvement. Yep.
Make it more like the iPhone.
No,
and this goes on and on with everything. It's like
the directions for improvement for that one.
Our calendar icon displays the same date. Make it do what the iPhone does, where it displays the date.
I mean, 132 pages.
It's painful.
By the way, that one specifically was add sound effects that stimulate a user's sense of nostalgia and emotions.
That's right.
Wow.
But
By the way,
So they're not just copying. They want to know why they're copying.
yeah, no. So let me say that one.
Damning evidence.
This is actually more damning when you read it. So under the iPhone on the alarm clock one, it says, when a user drags to set time, it makes a clock winding sound, stimulating the user's sense of nostalgia and emotions. The Galaxy S, due to simple mechanical sounds, feel dry and has low emotional satisfaction. Direction for improvement: add sound effects that stimulates a user's nostalgia. And
it would be one
will
thing.
say-
But it would be one thing if it were like
One page.
1 or 2, or even 5 pages.
132 pages
They
of
found
this.
a couple of examples, but this is like every part, like the way the keyboard letters pop up, like the home screen icons, how they behave, like they're edging, like just every.
So,
I mean,
this makes sense.
I mean, Nilay. By the way, Nilay has never felt more vindicated in his life because he's been saying for literally for 5 years, like they're the biggest kerf maker in the world.
Right.
And this definitely reads like you just full on ripped off.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what's actually most damning?
industrial design notwithstanding, like let's just take that off the table for a second.
Yeah.
Let's just say they have one that really looks like the iPhone. Okay.
Yep.
They have one that looks just like the 3GS, but all of their other phones could be described as being relatively distinct.
Well, for the Droid charge is in this lawsuit.
Right.
Why is that in this lawsuit? Like, it does not look like it.
Right. But the UI stuff,
without question.
And
You know what's
we've
really
always
funny?
known, and we've known this. I mean, we've known that Samsung has been ripping off, and Nilay has been preaching this. The software is where it's really pathetic.
It's what they've done with TouchWiz. And you know what's
It's
funny
sad.
is Apple has this slide that's alternative designs, right? They show the drawers, like, here's what Samsung did, and then here's all these other companies are doing it. And what's really funny is they picked the BlackBerry Torch, the Nokia N9 with MeeGo, and the Meizu M8, which is a straight up curve of the
they
iPhone.
picked that for what?
Alternate designs. Like,
Who
here are
did?
Apple. Here are some companies that didn't rip us off.
What?
Oh,
And the
okay.
last one
Are
they
they
picked,
kidding?
No, it's like super
That's so
hilarious.
I will say
And like
this.
that is like to me that's just like a subtle burn.
I
It's
think
like
what's-
you copied us harder than the company that openly tried to copy.
I think what's really lame about Samsung is
It's not a compliment, though.
It's not a compliment.
I think
You guys did a good job copying.
I think what's really lame in this instance about Samsung is that I don't believe they had to do what they did to be successful.
Right.
And I also think that it sucks for Android because what they do, TouchWiz, particularly the last version and the version before that, is not representative of Android.
Right.
Like the things that they do are the things that I dislike most about like what third parties do, which is they took Android, which at its core is good, and did things to it that made it worse and crappier and lamer.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a bad representation of what Android is, because if anything, Android has gone further and further away from, and now you look at Android like the actual Android, and it's like, not to me is very little in common with iOS.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things here and there, but like they're different operating systems. They function very differently.
Right.
They have full on like ideas that are just functionally different, like the way you move through your email.
Right.
You know, like it's its own operating system, and it has been going in that direction since version 1. It hasn't been like Android needs to emulate iOS more. It really hasn't. I mean, if you look at the evolution, it has not gone that way. And for Samsung, their evolution was clearly like make what Android is more like iOS.
Yeah. Right.
And that hurts Android and it hurts Samsung.
And there are long established ways to go about copying a product, and you create the technical specifications, and then you have somebody without access to the actual product copy that. And so in this example,
What is this?
This is a slide. I'm sorry, I probably can't. This is a slide showing the original icons from the Galaxy S that shipped worldwide, and how Samsung changed them for the U.S. variants, the Fascinate on Verizon. Right. And I've always said that I believe the Verizon Fascinate is the key product that Samsung tried to create.
I have to say, I'm super confused about this. So
this is the iPhone icons.
yeah,
This is Samsung's original set of icons.
the
in the
GTI
middle.
9000.
That's the Galaxy S.
Yeah.
And then they further refined them for the Fascinate on Verizon
the Fascinate. That's
to make
one
them
of my,
look more.
The Fascinate is the one that has Bing on it, right?
Yeah.
That's one of my least favorite phones of all time that I've reviewed.
I've always, I say this over and again. I'm convinced the Fascinate was commissioned by Verizon so they could say to women, this is just like an iPhone.
Oh, I don't,
because their other Android product at the time was the Droid, and
Yeah.
I think they had a hard time selling.
yeah, I
the
don't
Droids
doubt
women.
that. I have to say, I mean, it was such a waste when I look at those old icons. If that was like, I think Apple still would have gone after them for this, because I think there are
Well, no,
similarities.
so all the
wait,
other
wait,
stuff. So all the other cases, the one against Motorola, the one against HTC, those are all like system level.
yeah, those are like you bounced on your
Here's
menu.
software patents.
Yeah.
This one is all trade dress. You copied
Right.
our look and feel.
No,
You're
this is
using
like
customers.
you ripped up our style.
What I'm saying,
Yeah.
We
what
spent
I'm-
all this money. This is why they had Phil Schiller on the stand. We spent all this money marketing the iPhone, all this money making.
So Samsung's going to lose, right?
So, wait. So what I'm saying before you pulled up the slide,
Yeah.
mid sentence
Sorry.
of mine.
Sorry. You ordered a Coke last week in the middle of one of my sentences.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I refuse to watch. I
well,
refuse to
now
watch
we're
any
even.
Vergecast.
All right,
now.
I'm just saying. Continue.
Is there are ways to go about, if you can't think of anything better than the iPhone, if you don't have any creativity and you've got nothing going on, you look at the iPhone, you go piece by piece through it, you create a 132-page document, and then you go through that document, and you don't say needs mechanical sounds to be emotionally satisfying. You just say make the clock emotionally satisfying.
Or better yet, you say,
like,
what can we do? What can we do that's our own take on something like this?
Because I wish I knew the terms. It's like clean room engineer. Like you get these specifications, you need to feed to an engineer.
You want like
not
plausible
an image.
deniability.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you're describing is subterfuge.
No, but you feed to an engineer. You don't feed them images of the iPhone and sound effects and like make it more like this.
Well, no, but I think it's fine if you do that. If you say
this is my takeaway. Like that music icon really makes me feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be jamming pretty
Yeah,
soon.
but Samsung's
but it's
music
fine.
icon
It's-
really makes you feel like you're about to open iTunes.
I know, but if
that is the problem. Because it looks like
This
iTunes.
is what I'm saying. You don't show the engineer that icon.
I don't think
and
showing
say,
the engineer the icon is the problem. It's what you tell the engineer to do after
Yeah.
you've shown them the icon. You can say like, "This is our competition. Now, what are we going to do?"
Right.
I mean,
But
to me, like
the thing is, that I think a lot of bad design comes from that. I think there's something interesting about what you've the small amount.
also
of,
an engineer shouldn't be designing an icon. That's part of the problem as well.
I'm gonna say, the small amount you've explained of this document is interesting because they didn't just say, "Hey, copy, make the mechanical sound the same." They figured out why the mechanical sound is nice to a user. And that's the important thing of design
Right.
is you figure out the why, and then you come up with your own way to implement
The
it.
how.
The how. But I think there's a lot of the bad design that happens as like, well, we can't do it like this. So we'll do it like this. Like.
But you're
I
talking
don't
about the
really
difference.
like
But you're talking about the difference between going like, let's creatively solve a problem versus let's steal what somebody else is doing because we know it's successful. Which is what these documents are. Basically.
I'm saying let's creatively solve a problem. Let's not.
Well, yeah, let me
let's
put it
not
to you
try
this
to
way.
be reactionary to the specifics.
but let me
Well, that's a great. They should have done that.
let me just-
That's all I'm saying.
But Samsung hasn't produced a 100-page Apple document where Apple's sitting around. I mean, they produce some. Apple has a room where they study Android marketing.
What are you
Android
trying to
War
say?
Room.
What are you trying to say?
It just Samsung. The biggest thing that I've learned from this case is that Samsung needs to stop being insecure about its products. They need to develop their own product. They are Samsung.
Actually,
they make everything.
But what are you saying in relation to what I'm saying?
What they don't make is software.
So they figured.
You
Look,
said that in a tone that you disagree with me, but I don't know what you're disagreeing
because-
with me about.
Apple or any other company.
I don't think he's actually disagreeing
Microsoft.
with you.
I'm not really disagreeing.
He's just
with you.
making another point. It does sound like he's disagreeing, but it's not.
No,
it's not a
I don't think when
disagreement.
Microsoft was
Talk to the
making
camera. Don't talk to me.
when Microsoft was
making
making
Paul very uncomfortable.
Windows
Please
8 or
stop
Windows
looking at
RT, I don't think they did a 132-page breakdown of iOS and said this is why the iPad works.
Who?
Microsoft. I don't think you can find that.
Oh,
somewhere.
they did.
Maybe they did.
Oh, they did.
But it doesn't. They didn't end
But
up
what they
making a
did,
clone.
but what they did was what any good software company does, or any company that has its own ideas, which is they go, "This is what our competition is doing. It works. We can do we can do something better.
Yeah.
or we can do something. We think there's a better way to
But
attack
I'm saying
this problem."
in this instance, Samsung has access to exactly the same documents
But
on the
Samsung-
Apple
but
side,
Samsung is not-
and they did not find the
No, but
132-page
we know
Apple
Apple
document.
isn't. we know that
I'm
Apple
not
isn't copying
accusing
somebody
Apple
else's
of
interface.
doing that.
But Apple does it in
I'm
places.
saying-
They do it in places without question.
Look,
I
notifications.
like it when people do original things, but if you're not going to do something original, there's a way to go about copying Apple that doesn't involve being an idiot about it, and you take the tangible benefits, like, and you don't do it as well, but you end up
Look,
doing it differently.
This can be broken down in one of my favorite sayings: talent borrows, genius steals, shit copies. I mean, that's it. It is talent borrows, genius steals. Think about what those mean.
So
that means
the
there
example
are
is
other ways. There are other ways to take away from something and make it into something else without stealing.
I think the example is the scrolling on Android. It's very obvious that bounce to scroll is just really cool. It's really tangible. It's really obvious what's happening. And they wanted a way to communicate that on Android.
No, but it's not there anymore.
Right.
Android
No.
product
He's
has it.
saying
what they
in the new version of
what they're
Android.
doing now is it glows.
Right.
They actually do a couple of things which I think are
And so you convey the information.
They actually do a couple of things that I think improve upon the feeling, and I actually find myself like they have this thing when you're flipping through home screens, when you reach the end, the home screen tilts. It shows this like last thing,
interesting.
and I actually find myself sometimes like when I'm just like doing something else, I'm like I do the tilt as like kind of a nervous thing, and I think it's actually like a testament to how they've come at like that feeling. And it has created like something where it's like an emotional response on it. But yes, you find another way. Like you don't copy the way the other person was doing it. You find a different way or a better way or another way
And so,
that solves the problem.
and you don't design and build everything blind, is what I'm saying.
No,
They obviously saw
none
this
of these companies.
feature.
I mean, to Nilai's point, they may not have a document, but certainly Apple engineers.
They have a whole room.
They have a
called the
room.
Android
I
room.
assure you, they've looked at everything that Android is doing and that Samsung is doing, that all these other companies are doing, and they're looking to see if there's anything there that they hadn't thought of or that they could improve upon or that they should take. But Apple's not going to. I mean,
like multitasking.
I mean, I don't know. You look at their.
They took forever to come around to multitasking, and they did it differently, and it
this
looks
happens,
different.
But look, if it were one thing out of 1,000, if it were one page, like Nilai said, one, or we said 5, out of all the thousands of things that go on in the phone, I think that we would be like, well, you know what? This is going to happen. You're going to make a rim. You're like Ford's going to make one type of rim, and Chrysler's going to make another type of rim, and they're going to be kind of similar because they're a certain style. And like, okay, that might have been kind of a copy, but like that's just a rim. This is like Apple took like Android notifications. It's pretty wholesale the same. Like, it's very similar.
Yeah.
But that's one out of hundreds or thousands of things that they didn't take. Samsung's like, there might be one out of thousands of things that they didn't take and everything else is the same. It's the reverse, and that's the problem. I think that's the ultimate problem.
We might be having a heated
We're having
agreement.
an agreement. We have to
So,
wrap
by the
up.
way, we did.
Oh my God.
Matt and Brian and I. Brian's been in the courtroom for the whole trial, and Matt is our patent attorney on staff. We did 45 minutes on this. This is an insane headline.
Yeah.
Why Apple will turn to holograms on Business
I'm
Week.
not
No
gonna
idea.
do that.
I want to do 46 minutes here.
Yeah. Anyway, we did 45 minutes on it yesterday. Got deep in the legal weeds.
Check it out. It's online right now.
It is.
Okay, we're going to wrap up. That's the Vergecast for the week. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at vergecast@theverge.com. You can find us on Twitter. The Verge is at Verge. I'm Joshua Topolsky. Nilay is Reckless. Paul is Future Paul. Again, he's not checking Twitter because he's off the internet, but whatever. And Creighton is Sensible Madman, at Sensible Madman. Please send him dirty tweets right now. The dirtier the better, says Creighton. I think I heard him say off camera. The dirtier the better, he mouthed to me while removing his shirt. This is getting dark, very dark.
Super weird.
What else do I say when we end? Oh, we'll be back next week with more Verge-casty goodness.
The last 2 weeks, I've literally been not
Can you leave
able to think of what you
voicemails
say.
anymore? Is that a thing? Or is
We
there
don't
an
have
email
that.
address?
We don't have that.
No.
I did the email, vergecast@theverge.com.
Just leave
And-
comments on the post. I mean, honestly,
Oh,
what are
and
we
you can
gonna
also
see
leave
us?
comments on the post.
You can send me letters.
which we
PO
love.
Box
And you can-
501, New York 10276. I've got some amazing.
Guy
letters.
loves snail mail. Send them out now.
It's awesome.
And that's the show. We'll be back next week. And as always, I wish you and yours the very best.
Rock and roll.
Paul.
Paul.
Sevilla.